right, everybody, let's get to it on a Tuesday. What's going on? Great to see everybody. End of August, a lot to talk about. Do need to mention really quick, get over to harmonictrader.com, get your free trial to HPC at, send your TradingView username to HPC at sr-analyst.com. That's the TradingView product. Tomorrow, folks, get with us on the crypto webinar, 10 a.m. tomorrow. If you have any questions, you want to join, several people sent me an invite or sent me a request to harmonictrader@gmail. That's where we start. Let's get to it. How about this NASDAQ? Really something else. I'm 9 days up, guys. 9 days off the low in a row. And I want to talk about HSI today. I meant to get to that last week, but I think it's our proprietary harmonic strength index signal, and it's the primary method I'm using. I started with RSI, but I want to kind of look at that in relation to these big markets, Bitcoin, others. I think there's a lot to be taken from what's going on. That's the bottom indicator on HSI. And we're back. We've gone from extreme to extreme, which is how it works. But it's really not a signal till it comes out of the zone. So we're early. Yep. Great to see everybody. What's up? What's going on? Mesogamma, Tails, David, thank you as always. Golden Eye, Pete, Kennedy, what's going on? Phil, Hawk, Leo, everyone else, Victoria. Hope everyone's doing well. Right back at you, Lawrence. Everyone else, let's go. And so why is that so important? Two reasons. One, the confirmation at the levels has always been, for me, like the chocolate and the peanut butter, and you need both. It's not about a single level. It's using the level as creating the range, and then really narrowing down on that with HSI and a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, especially in recent sessions. Yesterday I posted, if you're not a member or you subscribe here, check out, hit subscribe and join us here. Hit the like button coming in. There's a video where yesterday was day one of doing some live NASDAQ trading and Q on the E-minis, utilizing these techniques. And primarily we're looking at 5-minute signals with 30-second patterns. These yellow dots, those are HSI. That again gives us the precise area within patterns like this. Patterns like that. Hold on. Where'd it go? We had a pattern this morning. Oh wait, it was back here earlier in the session. Crab pattern. Now this was a tricky one this morning where it just went sideways for a while, and then just managed not too long ago, about 20 minutes ago, to get to target one. Like our crypto recipe, where with crypto, I've been saying, let's target those daily patterns and let's get some weekly checkbacks. Okay, that's what, hold on one second. That's not good. Hold on one second. Man, I tell you, it's been like a series of this. It's almost like someone came into my house and bugged up my computer. Our crypto recipe, and that's what we're going to focus on tomorrow. It's a crypto webinar. It's our next installment. We're going to update the portfolio as well as some of these non-cemetery altcoins, things that actually have potential to move, even though it doesn't look like a lot of things are going to do anything. Well, we'll get into that, but really the recipe with the day trading side of it is 5-minute dot areas, extreme overbought, oversold, with some pattern levels. That's the key. I mean, we had this morning. I had it set up at 1920, and it was sweet. And I scalped it, but it was a huge runner. And again, this is just to show the NQ. There's the 30-second pattern. The dot came pretty high, but I had a whole bunch of stuff here. The big thing on the hourly, I need to show you guys this for NASDAQ, just so you gauge it. How high is this thing going to go? Because here we are with NASDAQ, and the market's raging since that massive drop. But one of the things with HSI, and it's one of the problems with patterns, is that, yeah, you can get a beautiful bat pattern like that, but how do you know if it turns here or goes all the way there? Especially when you get a small reaction and then you get a counter HSI. Look, it's like this. It's a critical understanding with harmonic patterns where first move's always reaction, but what if that's just a small reaction? What if it's like, you know, we just go down really quick to that and you're quickly oversold and then you go back into the zone? That's been happening here for NASDAQ, for the past 5 days. Been looking at this pattern as a target, 886 for a while, but quick reaction down, counter HSI go. Another one yesterday, we caught that one, and then right back up. So there's another setup here where we got overbought. Beautiful trigger, but then right down to another HSI. So this thing just keeps on triggering those continuations, and that's really, for me, probably the best advancement of the whole pattern idea, the whole pattern strategy. Yeah, I think you're right, Mr. It Flies, It Dies 13. Yep. I think we're going to have to tap that hop at 20,050. There's a few things there. It's probably better on the regular trading hours, RTH, which is also something I've been kind of highlighting, where you can get all kinds of gyrations in the extended hours. But look, we've had back-to-back patterns. You guys know that I was traveling during this whole V thing, you know, down and then right back up. So I'm looking here. Even this hop is like 19,988. And I think that's possible before we see anything major, let alone some of the obvious things on NASDAQ. And, you know, filling a gap up here, that would be a logical move. And that's up as high as 2,500. It's just shaping up to be, I don't know. Spidey sense is like on fire lately with what's to come. Obviously, U.S. elections, we've been talking about it all year, but the markets have, you know, I am bullish long term on the markets regardless of election results. And I think it's probably something where I could spend an hour talking about, you know, just waxing on about, you know, poetically of what is possible, but I'd rather stick to levels, framework, numbers. And this is the other thing with NASDAQ that I mentioned this last week, and now it is pretty interesting, the follow through. We have a weekly HSI. What's that mean? Well, the throwdown from last week, okay, or the last 2 weeks was a major weekly signal, and we popped out of the zone. I would compare it to what happened here back in the summer of 2023, and then we had a dot. And that's still a possibility where we need to check that back. The way the dot works, okay, so the dot was added as a way to gauge, I think, and clarify the signals of exactly where we can expect the turnaround. Last summer, you go to our sessions from last summer, we were talking all about this big 886 move, and then it got the throwdown. It took about 6 weeks. There's the initial signal. Okay, registers on the weekly, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. We retest. We finally retest that low, which is the standard way to look at that. And then the price action element is 2 bars that agree with the signal. That's a bullish reading. The retest, that's just think of that as like the final divergence move, which is something I think is critical. Whatever wave theory structure, whatever you're looking at, divergence is an important concept because it's an area where the price shakes out the support or shakes in the resistance and finds immediate support in that right after taking that out. And then 1 and 2 green bars. That's the starting point, but it's been effective in the last 2 years since we brought that in to clarify, okay, exactly where. You know, am I looking here or where? It's after the dot. Let the dot form and go. And we had that right up there earlier in the year. Quick reaction down, and then there it should be the follow through move. So once you get that rollover, you get that confirmation, and you get a 3-bar break, what have you, you just tighten stops. We did that yesterday. Trading really light, just trying to exemplify, show the mechanics. That's just let you guys know that's available here on the channel. Go to Harmonic Trader channel, and it's right here. It's in our videos channel content section. It's that one. Okay, clicked like 2 trades, but just walking through every step of the process, the rationale, the logic, because that's what the framework's all about. An expectation, an understanding of what should happen at the levels. So I'll look for this, something to consider going into September. We have the pop. Are we going to check this back, or are we just going to rip it? Okay, because not until really, I wouldn't even consider this thing a runner until you get above the 50 as well. That's something else to consider. I should talk about that probably a little more in another episode, but get the software and just observe. I've been saying this to a lot of people that are new, and welcome to the new folks. You guys just keep coming in, which is great. Get the software first, try it, expose yourself, follow the stuff that I'm pointing out, follow it of what you're trading, and then see how the framework, the confirmation, okay, wire your brain into that. So the same thing with, as I'm saying, with the 50, like we're coming off the 50, okay, but the real acceleration happens once you crack and you go from 50. Red line is 88.6. The low line is 11.3, 886,113. Get it? Those are some tighter, extreme definitions. And then again here, 50 down, or even last week, okay, 50 down. That's where we expect acceleration in the price action. It is I'd say a leading indicator. It's frequently early, at least the HSI component, the reversal of it. Important to understand that, but it will signal well in advance. That's how it's been designed. Great. Excellent. What's up? Thanks, insurance. He says it works. And that's all I can do. All I can do is I can lead you to the water and show you how to be looking at this. I still say you need a little time to expose yourself to the patterns and just get that experience. Doesn't take long, but understand you got to reinforce the framework. Now with SPY, which is an important market for what we're looking at currently, a lot of people have been asking me about this crab pattern. So check it out. We're right back at the hop level, 513 to 556. Amazing. Okay, but today's potentially only the second red candle really since we blasted off above the 50. See that again? Remember I was saying when we're looking for the indicator to really define those areas where we're going to get acceleration, it's like that, 50 up. Or even last week here, 50 down from there. And look where that 50 signal triggered. I mean, that ideal well before the larger decline. And this is early. We're up here at 556. That's the hop level. Some people have said they want to just clear out of this market. That's not what I'm saying. And I'll get to the weekly in a second. I'm just saying this was the anticipated type 2, and it's super strong. Breakout, follow through, maybe a red candle today. But this is the other way to know. Look, we're up here with HSI, Harmonic Strength Index. Okay, that has to roll over before we assume anything. So I think it keeps you out of being early, and it pinpoints the spots pretty well, at least the zones. I do like to do a little comparative check, and as I said on the weekly here, check out what we have. And if we're looking at this the same way, 5-minute, 30-second, daily, weekly, it's a massive deep crab. So what happened at the end of July, early August was just this big 1618. It was a throwdown reaction. And last week we did trigger HSI on the weekly. That's strong. That tells you if you're looking bearish, you're going to need more time. And here you go. You're not above the 50 yet, but clearly push it back into the XA level and maybe even challenge the hop at 618. That would be remarkable. It's amazing action. And then the VIX going to 65 was a big deal too. Great to see everybody. What's up, Grace? Justin is telling me Bit Digital's pumping. We'll jump over to there. Do we use the 382 as a hard stop if you're in a weekly move? 382 is a great trailing level, but it's just one of the tools. Like if you're looking at, here's the question is, like let's say we're looking at we're on an uptrend, okay? Maybe you get a 382 like off of here, and the question is, would that 382 be a trailing stop? Meaning if you take out 540, would that the move be considered over? I think that's one absolute method of doing it, but tell me about really the trend line too. Conversely, okay, last week, as we were sinking down, or 2 weeks ago, and then we did the hop up, we did a 382 bounce. It was perfect, like right there. The 382 trailer, that's right out of the first book, believe it or not. But that was a good idea. But then once you took out that 382, look, there's the point where 382's failed the end of the move and probably go back 886, something like that. 886 is like that. We're right at the 886 already. So ears are up, eyes are open. I'm settled in. The kid's in school. Let's get back to work. Would I consider buying long-term butterfly option spread in a zone? That's I don't do option spreads. I'm either go flat out one direction or another. There are a lot of people that do that, where say you could fade the zone, but it really depends on your style, your time frame. Okay, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on this 886 today. But again, it's not official. That's only a 4-hour chart, but it's not official until we come out. It's trying to roll out right now. Early signs, folks. Early signs. Meanwhile, the weekly is the other really interesting story about this. I think there's plenty of time in this scenario. But if I'm just reading that straight out, okay, it's going to send it back into the zone here. Come back here. Minimum 561. And then we'll see. I'm longer term. Yeah. Longer term. Oh, it just flashed that monthly too. Monthly, I would say, needs a dot. Like if you were worried about the market and you were looking for somewhere to jump out. Think about it this way. Remember what I'm saying about the dots and the arrows. Okay, the arrow is the starting point. The dot is really the confirmation trigger, just like we had in the low 2022. This is a monthly chart. Another one. Okay, so even off that 22 low, there's your first signal. It retests, but look, straight up. You would need one and still a second bearish candle before you'd even consider anything. And in this case, okay, we have two signals. So you're, what, 2 months away? 2 bearish months where you'd have to wait for that until it's, before it's even, you're looking for some kind of down, much like what we had here back in 2021. Check back, red candle, done. And that's what HSI does. I mean, it's you look at the indicator here, it comes out again. It's not even a valid signal till it comes out. Not a valid signal till it comes out. And then you have to do a little divergence move with 2 candles that agree with that. That's been the big advancement, I think, really, for in the last 10 years of how we look at harmonic patterns. It's always been that way, and I've used RSI, Standard Wells-Wilder formula. So, you know, if I'm just reading that straight off, 2 more months, and the monthly close. So we have our webinar tomorrow, 10 a.m. Hey, if anybody wants to go, just probably the easiest thing, get on the Discord and DM me. Oh, the invite's in the it's in our description, or you can email me at harmonictrader@gmail.com. I've sent out a bunch of invites. Again, that's 10 a.m. tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to talk crypto. Maybe I'll preface some of it today. But big stuff, folks, and I this is, in my opinion, this is where the market can do surprising things. And you go to the diamonds too. Monthly diamonds. Check back. This might end up being, you know, Dow's at almost back to 41K. We have a big 1618 that's pushing it probably more like 422, 425 on the diamonds. That's 42.5 on the index. But there's no dot. There's no the check back, but there's no confirmation here yet. And I mean, this is the monthly still quite strong. That remains until the trend line's violated, and probably with 2 red monthly closes, you're still up on this. I know it's pretty remarkable. I mean, just a remarkable time. Here's the weekly. And software, I'll show you why this is happening. Again, software is pulling off of a deep crab here on the diamonds, but just walk through it. And the reason why I'm doing this, I've been wanting to talk about HSI for a couple of weeks now, but probably the best and easiest read once you got the pattern, and if it's a daily, 4 hour, 5 minute, doesn't matter, is just gauging the counter move. We look at a pattern, should go to T1. That's the rule. Expectation, reaction down to T1. But en route to going there, if you have some kind of throwdown and then you signal an oversold extreme like this did, the interpretation is it's going to need more time back in that zone. I think that has been a tool that has saved a lot of people drawdown, hanging in positions. These are all common issues I had to deal with early on. Like, you know, right away, I first started trying to just hit patterns right at the exact number. And a lot of times we'd get that quick move and then it would be right back a stop out move. That happens, you take shots. I talked about that yesterday. But the fact that we have that HSI to tell us, okay, it's only going to be a small reaction. Yeah, we want the big type 1, maybe even go to type 2 move, but it doesn't happen like that. This is why you have to get a little screen time. Just get a little screen time. And look what happens since the throwdown, counter HSI sends it back into the zone. And we're going to have to retest this. Like that's 412 area. And then 2 more bearish weeks before I would consider this thing to be another relevant opportunity. We'll look at some stocks. I'll go to I'll go to those in a second. Let's jump to Bitcoin though. Okay, Bitcoin. You remember that? Off 700. No biggie. So, been thinking a lot about this asset. Where is it going? When is it going? Probably the best question of all. If I'm looking at the dot 2 HSIs, what needs to happen is this week needs to be green. We have one dot here. Look, there's HSI. You get the check back. So 1, 2 green candles. So that up move from mid-July, that was only a starting point. So we start looking to the right. And we had actually a second signal. So this whole area, we've been 61 to 72 all along, even though this thing got to 49. For Bitcoin, I'm not really concerned. I want to see some green candles. I need to see this be green this week and then one more. And that would be it. And that's the preface for tomorrow, because I've been saying all along that tomorrow it's all about Bitcoin for this cycle. And 102.5, $102,500 remains the target by the end of January. So if that's the case, that's what we're planning for. Where do we hit this? Because I think we'll get actually a double dot. We'll probably bounce around in here for a little while. No, week, 2 more weeks before this goes. And if we did, so here's the other, from a pattern perspective, the other thing I've been mentioning is this shark to 5-0. We had a shark, big shark pattern that has capped the rally. Are we going to get to 45,703? That would be the ideal situation. But the trend as well, this trend channel, that's contained. This isn't really, if this was really going to dump, folks, okay, we would not have that and we would not have that. We already have one dot. We have price action that doesn't look great, only because everybody wants this thing to be mooning already. But those are my considerations. I'm still saying 45.7 is a possibility. It could be really fast, like Binance Coin was. And then we go. Or we get another dot somewhere in this area and go. We're ballparking it. I think it's generally, you're going to get a signal between 45 and 55. But it's not going to matter because we're looking for 102.5. And we'll want to jump on in this area. Super long term about Bitcoin. I've thought a lot about the Michael Saylors of the world and everyone else that's piling in on this thing for long term. And let me just show you what's the next stop. Once we finish this pattern, we put in a dot in a week or two. You know, we're talking just an 886 pause here. Come up. That was a 382 right there. But I'm still thinking the 1618, that's a minimum objective. That says 100. That's like a 101. Maybe I need to adjust my, let me get the magnet on that. But just so we know, 1618, a minimum growth cycle, spiral, think of it that way. It's not a deep crab or anything like that. We ended up not really having a W formation. Let me get something. There you go. We didn't get a W. I thought we'd get like an 886 deep crab. That was busted out. Here's on the monthly. I'm only concerned with what happens above 75. And again, above 75, the first stop is 102. the bigger moves of, how high can that go? I would look at it like this. I've mentioned this previously. We did this in our first webinar, okay, of our core positions. On this cycle, an overshoot move minimum is like 155, guys. We're dealing with big numbers. And are they going to come to fruition? And I eventually, yeah. And I think Bitcoin I'm probably feeling more conviction about Bitcoin now than even a year ago, 6 months ago, because it has to lead the pack. Let's look at total. And then I'm going to preface tomorrow. But total ones like this, big dip down here. This will end up being a deep crab. And that gives me a little more confidence in how this will shape up. Whenever this does finish what it's doing, okay, we're coming down. We're actually under the 50 here. So we don't have a signal. That's monthly. Weekly's like this. 2 dots. Now, remember what I said about HSI, and I really want to highlight this so that to answer the number one question everyone has on their minds, when the hell is this thing going to move? Got to get HSI above 50. You got to get it above 50 for that acceleration. Even in some slight reactions like we had back in the beginning of the year, and in particular when we had this a year ago, that's what set it off. Okay, dot came in, we're already trending above the 50 and go. That's what needs to happen here. That will probably be the primary go signal for me, and that will require some green pin bar action to get above that 50 level, but it will be a massive indicator breakout. It'll be a massive bias breakout. But look, 1 dot, checking back, potentially could get a second dot today on the total, or this week. It's really big stuff. I know it doesn't look all that great. Price action's been super choppy when you wanted, all-time new highs, but this is how and why we're patient. We size up the indicator triggers inside the zones, and then we'll still be gunning for total crypto market cap to do the deep crab up to 4.2, 4.5 trillion. These are minimum levels, guys. Minimum. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. Yeah, post if you can. Thanks, Hawk. Post that. They just posted that in the chat. Oh, you know what? Did I do this? Hold on. Yeah, let me. I'm gonna tweet. Here's a invite. Here you go. I'm gonna do an invite to the main. There you go. Let's do it like that. I'll put it in the main chat. Where is it? Here in the main chat. Here's the Discord link. Get on there. That's our main Discord, guys. Jump there. Join us there. That's a brand new, fresh link. Here's the other major consideration, and then we're going to look at a couple of what I call T coins. If you're not familiar with that, the toilet coins, the coins that we know are totally speculative, but actually have some harmonic and price action development behind them. Here's the T coin index. In my opinion, this is total 3. It takes out a BTC and Ethereum, and pretty much leaves everything else. I mean, where's the? I want to do the others index too. Others index is really what I'm referencing, but this is take out Bitcoin and Ethereum, and what do we have? Again, running the algos, not measuring by hand. This is a uniform algo harmonic pattern system with the targets that say, look, that T2 right there, that means this pattern has been successfully retested. That's a big deal. Why? Framework tells us. Reaction, target 1. Back down, target 2 reversal, go to target 2. Those are basics. Again, those are patterns on, there's videos on this channel. Check them out. Now, here's the situation of the advancement, I would say, of this cycle versus last cycle. We didn't have dots. And so here's the first dot to consider on that index, and that's like 548 billion. And underneath it, look, as it formed another dot, okay, secondary consideration, that completed last week. And now, again, this will be my trigger. You guys come back here in a couple of weeks. If we get this, it's go time. It is go time. Those are the signals. It's not, hey, I think Bitcoin dominance is here and the crypto conference is next week and then Michael Saylor's talking. No, these are measured mathematical levels, signals. I posted this. We need undeniable triggers. And that's what these are. To where this, once we get through this phase, we might not be looking back at that for a long time, if ever. And you go back, we go back a year ago, same kind of thing, the big correction. Look, big bat pattern, okay? I was really clear where we were, 2021, even like by May or June 2021, I was done with the cycle. But we got a dot, had a few things up here, and beautiful bat pattern consolidation on the retest where it hits the hop, holds the hop level, harmonic optimal price. That's the permissible overspill level. But then look at the zone. Okay, a pattern is just a pattern. It's not an opportunity until we get something like this situation and then a confirmation dot. Still took a while. We ran into a counter dot, then finally got one last one there. Okay, here's the big zone. Here's where we pinpoint. Here's where we pinpoint. And we're going to do the same thing with what's developing here. Okay, that overspill move, the T2, perfect. Okay, but the confirmation's coming a little bit higher. This is huge. I have to kind of pound the table and tell you guys that it's huge stuff we're looking at. I understand the challenge because people, especially new, just haven't had the experience to know exactly what all of this means. And so let me come in here and emphasize these signals of how critical they are. Here's the others. This is the real T-coin index. Okay, we had a crab pattern, HSI, hop level, capped it. And then the throwdown move, even though it was an overspill, look, we got the T1. So by definition, the reaction's over. Even though this was ugly, and it was ugly overrunning that level, it's still a valid level where I would expect the return move. If I was looking at this in any way, if that was a 5-minute pattern, I would still say, hey, we're going to have to go return it dot to dot. And that's 264. You're 192 currently. Okay, do the math. It's like 70 billion to the upside on your others. Call it 30% or so. Maybe another 90 billion. But that's what you're looking at right here. And really important that you understand we're there now. Because that's the big job. If you're going to do this on NQ trading 5-minute, we can dance around it, but your job of with the NQ, well, with all trading, is you have to be monitoring the market so you can position yourself when it happens. This weekly close will be a double dot. Won't happen till Sunday. But if it's a bullish candle, I'd say we're in business. And I'm it's a little fortuitous. I've been kind of itchy on not missing this launch pad. We did a crypto webinar, like an update in June, and I was saying, guys, it's not ready yet. As much as I wanted that summer equinox to be the signal, it was not ready. With this kind of stuff, we're really close. We're really close. I mean, you'll go back, in history, and you'll say, that was it. It was all popping on us. And then it starts, literally could start next week with a retest of that open. So you come back, a little down move next week, retest it, and then turn around and go. Obvious things are like, get the trend line out of here, make that progress. And then the other thing, we're seeing this across the board. And everyone, look, if you're into crypto, please, the harmonics, I've never seen a market work so well with harmonics, flat out. Okay, and the big confirmation move when we get to 50. When we get above the 50, then we can run it. You would see that follow through. I agree, Vegas. I mean, look, most of it has been garbage. Most of it. Hey, what's up, Mitch? Mitch Ray in the house. What's going on? I texted you. Can we do that Saturday? Let me know. Look, it's one of the reasons why I'm thinking that whenever, wherever this comes in, I'm thinking more about Bitcoin than ever. I'm thinking less about Ethereum. That's for sure. I would favor Solana over Ethereum any day. And I'm thinking about going into the future here. Okay, who's going to win that one? Ethereum or Solana? Here was the deal on Solana way back when. It was a big bat pattern. There was a shark too, but let's call it the bat at 47. Even though it went to 10, it was down at 10. But it was kind of a delayed development, mainly because of this. You never broke out of that downtrend until you got to the right of that. But now you had that big move up, T1. It was 122, and decided to go to T2. It's not the easiest reads, but that needs to be the big continuation level. That is the definition. Solana, in terms of this being weekly oversold, I would say that is weekly oversold at 130, and we do have a type 2 pattern. There's the 2. We were having that trouble with the various feeds, like I think it was Bybit or one of the other ones actually generated. Yeah, this one, what was that? It was Coinbase generated the T2 pretty quickly, 1, 2. And that's more ideal than that delayed thing, but we are responding to the 120 level. And I would say it's more about like 140, holding that 140 area and starting to turn up. Definitely need to see green. No doubt. You need to print some green candles. We haven't done anything with committing to this launch pad, but we need to see at least another week. Green week, 2 weeks. I mean, this is right there at 130. There's your dot. That's your dot continuation. This has to hold. And I would also just bring in the simple fact that, hey, can you break out of a 3-bar range, please? I mean, really do it. And that would not be until next week. Lining it up, though. A lot of these interesting kind of triggers coming in at high levels. Structure, ideally, probably should have been running already. Talk about structure or lack thereof. We got Ethereum. Okay, I ever since the failure, the 2950 to 2650 hop level, there, it's really turned me off. I'm thinking Ethereum is a little bit broken at the moment, 2650, and I would still want to see a check back, confirm the support. That would need to come back to 23. Okay, it's just not. It just doesn't look nearly as good as some of those other charts. So I would just say needs time. And yeah, we did go dot to dot on the monthly. Where are we? Look again. Ethereum on the 50 level, under the 50. So, I'm not committing anything else to Ethereum, and I'll talk about it tomorrow. Maybe possibly making an adjustment. I did make some adjustments in that portfolio going back. We had 3 sessions in the last year. This will be number 4, where I'll have to really think about what we want to do with Ethereum longer term, because maybe it's better to pile that into Bitcoin. Meanwhile, XRP, which is something that I really got tired of because of it was doing nothing, decided to start doing something. And it's another situation where we just got above the 50 on that last little push. That's the first time since the beginning of the year that we've seen any kind of constructive behavior off of these lows. I've always said the big numbers around 50 cents are fine. Anything under 60 is fine. You're playing this for, you're playing XRP, and what you're looking for in XRP is some kind of, I wouldn't say revolutionary move or what have you. You're just looking for a bigger T2 here. You're not looking for 60 or 70 cents. You're looking for a T2 134 as your minimum. The thing I want to see where XRP needs to continue and head back up like that. That would get you going. Okay, so a lot of these, what are they showing? Still like they need a little more time. I mean, week or two, not missing out. Stellar Lumens is interesting as well. That's another one related to XRP where first time in a long time, we pushed above the 50 on HSI. If this thing can turn back up, that would be a big deal. Okay, we haven't seen any kind of move. Really, you have to go back to the beginning of the year like that. You had a nice little pop off of that support. Didn't lead to a heck of a lot. But if you want to see this thing come off the lows, it has to do that. I like the fact that you pushed above the 50. That's a starting point. That's a starting point. So we've seen some development. I'll show you one more. Kind of surprising. Zcash. Okay. That's up here on this long-term base. All right. This, I don't know if that's not going to do much. If we roll over here, maybe by the end of the week, maybe that's just a pop and roll. But again, notice the 50 move. So that caught my eye. Haven't done much with that. The only way I played that was the Zcash ETF, like a lottery ticket. A couple more. Okay, thanks, Mitch. I'll follow up for sure. I thought I sent you a note. Well, I'll get it to later. Avalanche for Neil. Neil, it's like this. Avalanche is one of the disappointing ones where we talked about 22 of a big retest. Pattern still there. What is there? Well, the recipe's daily type 2s. Okay, daily type 2 and weekly oversold. Where is it? It's this. Where's my? Sorry, 1 second. It was this pattern, and it's not the best situation, but it was this initial crab pattern. We were dealing with that at the beginning of the year. It popped up, came all the way back. Look, the T2 signal there, but this is the first dot. It's not as strong because of how much time has occurred between the initial starting point and coming all the way back. I'm not. We had Avalanche in the portfolio going back. It was like December, and then I took it out and I replaced it and moved it into Solana. Avalanche does have a few triggers, but what happens if you just come up and then go counter HSI? It's, that tells me it's going to take more time. And the weekly is another thing where We got to the 50, couldn't bust through. So this is, I think it's not too difficult just to say to yourself, are we getting above the 50 here? Can we do that for the acceleration move? Now that you have some kind of a little immediate peak, I wouldn't expect that thing to run until it got above 50. That's been another disappointing, I wouldn't call it cemetery crypto, but it's definitely not done what I think a lot of people thought it would do, and I was one. I really thought we would do a Solana move, go to the 886 by pre-halving. But, come, what was that, March, started to roll over, couldn't do it. A couple others. Have to look at, and I don't know why, but a lot of people have been asking me about Fetch AI and Fetch weekly. Okay, first dot. But that's a starting point. And then the daily is a big bat pattern. It's not a type 2. Okay, but I'll look at 70 cents. I think with a lot of these that have not triggered or are triggering this week, you can start looking next week. Not executing, but just start looking at it for something next week. Because a lot of these patterns have been generating, they did full resets. They go all the way up, come all the way back down. Fetch was one of the ones, Ocean, AGIX. We were in front of those last fall. And then when they did the pop and roll, Fetch, go back to May or April where I was just kind of groaning and saying, I think I got to get out of here. And I eventually did slightly above $2, and it came all the way back down. I'm not doing anything with Fetch AI just yet. I think there's better ones, more developed than that, but it's a starting point. Yeah, it's USDT. I don't. Do you really think there's a difference? I mean, USD or USDT? I look at all the different feeds. Nice, Mitch. Yeah, the toilets have more value than a lot of those cemetery coins. Justin wanted to look at bit by bit, BTBT, like Riot, like some of those others. They've been okay. It's popping. Keeps hitting this big bat pattern, which on the weekly, there's a massive weekly pattern on Bybit. A lot of these have this kind of a thing. Okay. They had those big weekly patterns we've been talking about. This is Bit Digital, by the way. You've had a few times 2 to 4, 2 to 5, something like that. But look, here we are. Again, HSI. Where's HSI? The last signal, overbought. Back under the 50 now. Okay, I would need to see that thing stabilize and do something like that. Get above the 50 before I can expect that thing to run again. Or here, same type of deal. So hopefully that simplifies it. Hey, when is my thing going to run? When you get to there. Just consider it that way. It's similar to RSI in that regard, but the way this has been designed is a little more serial, meaning has a kind of a more direct movement, 1/1 continuation indicator expression, and that's what I'd look for there. There was oh, check out Link, guys. Haven't talked about that in a while. Massive Gartley. It's beautiful. And people love Link, right? What's going on or what's not going on? Weekly, is it oversold? Not yet. Not totally. Need to come back down. And in fact, another sign of a pattern. Beautiful structure. I mean, that's ideal stuff. But what's HSI doing? It's down. Can we get a full retest? Or even better, whatever the inflection is, I wouldn't expect this to run for real until we turned around and got above the 50. I think this is an easy way to stay out of drawdown and know that we're still early on that. Beautiful pattern. But here the lows were 5. You went to 20. Now we're back at 10. Could we come back to 5? We could probably dip under 9.3 again. It's just not ready yet. Again, these are stuff I'll talk about tomorrow at length. Longer than today even. One or two more. Where's Ondo? Or here's this ordinal. Okay, this is another one I'm looking at as a preface for tomorrow. Weekly dot. We retested that. Trying to stabilize. HSI, again, interesting position here. First thrust up, but did not get going. And also notice that last signal, again, another failed 50 level. Holding here. Holding here. So, Ordi, can you turn up like that on the weekly? Would need probably another, would have to be next week. Just sit where you are this week, create a 1, 2, 3 range, and then get going with the kind of the resumption. But easy trend line assessments too. Of just saying as well, this is a lot like last summer where they were down, down, down and did not make any progress until October, November when they cracked their downtrend lines. Ordi here on the daily is like this. Okay. It's a type, it's tough because it's almost was almost a perfect type 2, but it's still a type 1. T1 there, pulling the bat. Basically, for the whole year, the 2024 action, it's a bat. And then there's the first dot after the pattern completion, but that's like 26 or so and still have obvious trend line constraints. If you're really going to do something, again, I like the early indications here. This did get above the 50. That's your starting point, like right there. Now tell me where the dot is, and now 50. Can we push up, hold that? Type 1, target 1. So wherever this is and the weekly scenario, combining the two, okay, we're talking about trying to get to 52.79. That's target 1. It's in a good position, and it's part of what I've been saying where we want weekly oversold, but we want type 2 patterns. Here's where's the other one? Let's quick peek at Binance Coin. BNB. Now this did do a shark to 5.0, and this is actually expressing a little better, stronger action with that kind of move. There's the dot. We're above 50. And here's the weekly. And I think this very well could be similar to what happens with Bitcoin if Bitcoin does satisfy the 5.0. Okay, the throwdown move. Hit T1 at 414. Shark to 5.0. Get that in your vocabulary. Shark to 5.0. And then go for the retest. When can we expect for BNB to do things? You crack above that 50. Probably a week or two away. And a full retest up into 650 area, even challenge the hop level. It has to get above the 50 to really be the launch pad. But that is kind of the thing we're looking for on what Bitcoin to do. A quick shakeout move and then go or get above the 50 level. Couple more. Sure. Okay, yeah, near protocol for Neil again was this. And that's another one we are looking at. Weekly is oversold. Maybe we could have made more progress pre-halving. And then we have a type 2 here. It's an ugly type 2, but it is a type 2. Was this near? No, I'm thinking of something else. It wasn't near, but near does have a big Gartley. What was it? Near. Sorry, what was the other one? I think it was a Kosh network, AKT, and I'm looking for those trending. Yeah, here you go. Here's a Kosh network, type 1, all the way back down 2, hits the hop level. That has to be it. Okay, what's HSI doing? It's down still. This is one we've been lining up for a while. And then weekly is like that. So the weekly is oversold, but check it out. Get me above the 50 to send it. That would be the final trigger for Akash, but not until. I think a lot of these have just been sucking up air out of the room with this kind of consolidation, inability to do much. But that was last summer. That was a lot where we were last summer. Here's last summer. Okay, Akash Network was trading like what, 90 cents? Here's August ducking back down. And this is the kind of thing we want to see. Whatever it's doing now, I don't care. But the second we get above the 50 level on HSI and line up where that happens right there, you know you've got something really more serious than the prior 6 months. And I would say the same thing. Can we get this thing, print me a green candle or two for the next few weeks and go? That's what I want to see. What's up, 1977? I'm 1969. How you doing? He's asking, but when you crack above the 50 level, isn't your move and already ending? No. No, especially coming off of an oversold level. Okay, we want patterns. That's the recipe. Daily type 2 patterns, weekly oversold. But where's the acceleration? And again, go through the charts. Here, you go back to what, 2022? Deep oversold down here. And there's the 50 level. Even better after the dot configuration, like there. Okay, that's just to get some wind at your back. If you're down in here, you're sucking air. You're gonna take time. It's been a way for me to understand how much a pattern or how much a zone will get overrun. How many bars will it truly take before the thing gets going? That's why I designed it this way. We could bring in, I could show you relative strength index as a comparative measure, because that is what it's generally modeled off of, with a bunch of harmonic numbers there. But you're not going to get the same signals. Okay, RSI weekly, it'll hit the oversold or overbought, but how long does it stay? Or is it just a temporary signal versus going from extreme to extreme with HSI? That's why we did that. RSI is straight out of volume 2. And the best place to go, hold on, let me go here. Go to Harmonic Trader, guys. And there's volume 2. And so the indicator considerations are based on RSI. Go over here. I'm going to bring this here. Go over here. If you want to be a basic member, just register now, and then go to the basic members page. Okay, and click on volume 2, and that will explain, I think, really the time involved. I think it's towards the latter half of the book. But the whole key to understanding why we look at indicators, okay, you have a zone, a level, and then your indicator goes deep in. And that same could be said stochastic MACD, although I just don't think they work as well as like an RSI metric. But this could be in the oversold area for 10, 20 bars. If that's weekly, you're talking months. But if we understand why that has to turn around and why there has to be development, you're not jumping in early. It's why we didn't jump in June. We need more time. Check that out. And again, give yourself a couple weeks to put it together. Get the levels, the patterns right, and then this kind of understanding. Then you're going to find yourself waiting less for the move, and you're responding to the signal better. I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you guys. We'll throw a ton more tomorrow. Yeah. It happens in the 50 line. So with RSI, the 50 line is critical because it separates signals. Like when you get multiple RSI signals, they're truly distinguished by their ability to go to the midpoint and then retest. One or two more. What's up? Drip Dry, Tie-Dye wants to look at Crypto.com, which has been just kind of another sucking wind here. And I liked that at the beginning of the year. Scaled out. Now maybe would we look at it again? What's the formula? Weekly oversold. Okay, good. Secondary dot because we had another retest. All right, you just have to look for the dots. But are we getting above the 50? That might be the first sign. Okay, early in this move. That's probably your first assessment was last week or even the week before, retesting this area on the daily. Now, what's the problem with this? It's right back at the lows. Check out, here's hop level. So we do have a pattern. Is it a T2? No, it's just a shark. And where's HSI? Still pointing on the daily. It just went back down. We interpret that as more time. The final piece is just the one thing I've been saying about the crypto that we want to focus on is, are they at the lows or are they off the lows? Did they make any progress pre-halving or not? So even a retest of that would be like 6.5. And I'm watching, yeah, we're going to break under the 50 on the monthly. Not so much it's overly, I'm going to jump in negative. I'm just not going to be interested until I see some clear signs that this thing has turned up. Daily, weekly, what have you. Daily, weekly. There's the weekly. Again, weekly is probably showing the first signs here, but it's something I wouldn't even consider till like next week. And again, I think we will talk tomorrow about avoiding the cemetery crypto. And there's a lot of them. Someone asked me about Curve recently and this kind of a thing. Again, Curve, DAO token, whatever. I have a problem with these. How much can I expect when you're doing this? And that's on the weekly. Yes, oversold. But do I have anything there? A structure? Nothing. Okay, extended bat, but it's kind of lost its mojo being that it completed a year ago, did the 1-2 a year ago. So it's not as relevant or even really relevant. I would rather see something develop like, you shoot one or two more. Look, Ethereum Classic, that has been another one that I'm interested in. I like the proof of work. And I think that, coming all the way back here with another pattern. All right. We were looking around 18, 19. Now it's probably more like 17, 18. But the weekly here, there you go. Same thing. We formed another pattern on Ethereum Classic. Hold on. Back down on that last retest. So now it's back-to-back material. And we do have oversold, clear oversold readings. That's 1627. The big butterfly which is, I've been talking about that. We've been staring at that for a while. That's the hop's at 13. So, and that's your absolute limit. But I'll focus on the 1627 level. Okay, that's, to me, that has a few things. And then the daily, it's not a type 2 on the daily yet. But I'll look at, can we get a dot here around 16 or 17 bucks? It's one of the ones I've been sizing up, but we didn't get a trigger. It's not go time yet, but soon, especially if we get this again, go above the 50 level. So if whatever your crypto is, guys, my point is get the signals. You know, have clear evidence that this stuff is going to move. If it's a flat line, 6 feet under cemetery crypto that's right back at the lows from 2020 or 2022, how much can you expect from it? I'd want to see something like this with Ethereum Classic. And the other one was Ethereum name server. That was catching a bid earlier this year, like that. Right back down, almost going to trigger another oversold. I thought the daily had a nice pattern. It's that bat, but I thought we had something recently. And I'm only featuring the auto-generated patterns. Yes, we could say, sure, this is an M formation like that. We could go X, A to B. Your B point's at a 55. That's really close to being actually within the Gartley tolerance. So maybe it's like this to a 786. That would be the Gartley alignment. A, B, C, D off the top. Once, you know, I wonder why the software is not picking that up. Those are not bad proportions. Not bad, but I'll have to come back and look at that. I like some of the things I'm seeing here. That's Ethereum name server. And the weekly, the daily looks good, but you go to the weekly, it's not there yet. We want to see this stuff pushing above the 50 before it really, we can assume that it's got anything behind it. What's up, Neil? Neil, man, you've been active. Appreciate that, Flies. Yeah, if you guys can hit the like, that would help me, I guess. Hit the like, hit subscribe if you want to get in on this. SUI for Neil. SUI is like this. That's one of those. That did some big stuff, but here we go. Neil, is this a relatively new one? Like this cycle in the last year? I think so. This might be like the Ondos and the other ones. They all launched, which would be why they do the full reset. You know, you go public, you get listed. Anything you get listed now, I guess, if you're on Solana. And then you do the full reset to the 886 like that. I don't think that's a surprise. And then maybe kind of like this. Maybe, but at least for right now, this is interesting. You're above the 50 level. You have one more dot here. So if you see the dot, like we're on that bar for the dot, it's not a valid signal until the close, which will be Sunday. But this is a little better. This is definitely a little bit better than a lot of the ones we've been peeking at. And tell me about something like that. So that is a little bit better. And that's the job that we need to do in the coming month for this cycle. Here's SUI on, nice, big shark. Big shark at 46 cents. At that low, what was that? Early August, geez. But early is the emphasis here. And again, that dot, I wouldn't consider it until next week, but that has some things that are maybe a little bit more constructive than a lot of stuff we've seen. Cosmos, Lawrence, we talked about that last time. Cemetery crypto. Injunctive, INJ. Yeah, I'm not that one, isn't that been stuck? Why is that in my brain? INJ. Well, you can just see this like butterfly at the top, continuation shark, nothing really there. How about this helps to walk through it, to just jump into a crypto like that when you've got this kind of downtrend, break the trend before you would even consider it. It's kind of like Bitcoin is right now. It has to crack its trend. And then the weekly, yeah, you're, oversold, retesting the dot right now. I don't have any patterns on that one. And where's the 50 level? Hey, if that thing, I don't really, this isn't really absolutely something I would be in on. But if that could turn up above the 50, yeah, maybe you could get something running. But if you're stuck in a channel like that, you're gonna need more time. It's not, you can get in on it, but expect that thing to ride you down. Maybe it was JTO. Hold on. No. Maybe Jupe? No. There was one I wanted to show that kind of reminded me of. Not really. It's a group. SUI is a new layer one, a group of guys that left Meta to start their own project. It's the fastest layer one in crypto by far. I think it will do huge things. If it had some verifiable triggers, with accelerating HSI, we had some patterns there. For me, that would be the way to look at it. If you know something about it, great. But I would still demand ideal price action. I mean, we've seen so many of it that just go forever, and they don't turn around until a long time after the fact. Look, this Caspa, I've mentioned this last time, and I'm amazed how this thing is held up here. Not saying there's an opportunity yet, but this Caspa, just throw the trend channel. Okay, what do you think? That's the kind of crypto we should be looking for. Now, watch it fall out of bed and go back to zero. I'm only joking, but we do have a pattern here. It's lower, though. It's lower. There's a pattern. We got to go back to, earlier this year. There it is. Back-to-back patterns, but look, bat patterns back at like 11 cents. Also, we have a crab pattern, okay, that capped it at 19 or so. This is crypto, though. This is how crypto moves, but I am impressed with this kind of development. So if we came back to 10 or 11 cents, I wouldn't be surprised. And it might be a fantastic opportunity for a channel continuation. It is one of the few I've seen. I really can't say I've seen too many. Maybe Solana's like that. Certainly Bitcoin is on an uptrend channel. But T-coin stuff, I think that's something that I'd look at. I don't know, maybe you guys know about this, or know about Caspa. Isn't that proof of work? They lost their Genesis block. I don't know, Greg. Maybe you would know more than me. I just think I'm looking at trend channels. I'm looking at development longer term for stuff that can really get going to follow this. If we were down the other way, like 90% of all the other crypto, maybe 95, I would say no, there's not really a heck of a lot there to go on. One or two more. I definitely need to roll out of here and get back to business here. What was there was sorry. What is it? I think it's super. Something I wanted to look at last time because This was another one. Here you go. Did a lot. Okay. Huge run early in the cycle. And got creamed right at almost perfect 382. Where's the, and then we have a couple of dots here. Why is that interesting to me? Because weekly is oversold. We're finding ourselves down here, basically the 50-cent level. Are we going to get a continuation where that was the first thrust? We could maybe even assess it like this. Connect the dots kind of a thing. X, A, B's at a 382 perfectly, down to a C, and then back to the 886. I mean, just generally, we do have a few things. Again, it won't be official till Sunday, but that's big. And then look at the 50 level on Super Farm. This is another candidate, if you will, and it's very interesting because if we can pop up a green candle next week or 2 weeks, that would get it going. And the daily had, hold on, yeah, has this. It does have a pattern down here. It's almost a perfect type 2, not quite, but almost. But it has a lot of the makings of something that could go versus a lot of the things that are just flatlining. So I got to make that distinguishment between these crypto. We will do a lot of that tomorrow. So get over to Discord or join me. Send me an email, okay, at harmonictrader@gmail, or connect with that Discord link. I just put it in the chat. And we're going to go through what to line up. And I'll give you probably 8, maybe 10 candidates that I'm looking at where it's a defined recipe. It's a patterns on the daily, weekly oversolds with confirmation, and then we'll talk more about how to spot up HSI to know that we're really going. Okay, that's what I have for today, folks. Absolutely. Thanks so much. Hope to catch you either tomorrow or we'll be back here on Thursday, 12:30-ish. Just hit subscribe, like to join us. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great one. See you next time.